And welcome once again to Once Upon a Wireless. And today I have with me a very funny man. His name is Ron Cadee. He's been in the business as long, if not longer than I have, and he's still going strong. How are you, Ron?
Where's Ron Cadee? Who is he? Is he here with us?
You've forgotten your name.
Oh, that's right. Yes, star of stage radio and occasional use of the whirlpool. How are you, Bobby?
I am very well, thank you. And how did it all start for you?
Oh, dear, I don't even think it has started. Well, of course, my days of radio prior to television go back to this station where it seems to be part of you and I, 3KZ. And I go back to there as a kid of 11 or 12, doing a soprano act in the talent show, to end all talent shows, the P&A Parade with Mr. Eddie Balmer.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I used to see you wandering around the studios there at KZ, and it just seems an eternity. I suppose it is a long while ago.
Well, I started there in 1940s.
1940. Whatever happened to those 50 years? Forget it. We're rejuvenated. We're reincarnated, going around again. And I just remember the KZ days, remember the KZ era, and growing up in that, wanting to be a radio announcer all the time. I was doing singing, and the next time I'd run into you, I'd be down at the dugout. Remember the dugout in Swansea Street, where all the soldiers had come, and Aussie soldiers and the GIs, and a lot of stockings, and you'd get a prize from the girl for giving her a pair of stockings.
Down there, I think it was George Watson's band, wasn't it?
That's right.
Yeah.
But you used to sing with the whole mob of you to the Tune Twisters down there when I was doing my... what a boy soprano was doing in the dugout, I'll never know.
But you were pretty too, you see. That always helps.
Well, I never got any stockings. Just knockbacks.
Anyway, at KZ, what were some of the programs you did there?
When I finally made it on KZ, I was in the 20s, 21 years of age there, and I did their breakfast show. I think I started in the night time with people like Philip Gibbs, Ellen Freeman, Ivor Hancock, John Ford.
That's a name I'd forgotten. Ivor Hancock, yeah.
Oh, Ivor Hancock is still doing he was working in Toowoomba Radio, and he came across where I was working as an entertainer, a drunken entertainer, on the island known as Fraser Island, and he just got married again, Ivor, and he brought his wife over, and we had a marvellous 2 weeks of their honeymoon. I went on it with them.
When did you start playing the piano?
That was all part of it all. When I was having singing lessons as the boy soprano...
Who was your teacher?
Well, I started with Eileen Sheridan, who was a well-known lady, and only last week I ran into a fellow in the pub where I was working, playing the piano. He was having lessons from Audrey Anderson. Do you remember her?
Oh, yes, yeah.
I wonder how they're all going now. I don't know whether they're teaching up above in the satellite in the sky. But Margot Sheridan, of course, was the piano lady, and her cousin, I think, Eileen, taught me, and I'm grateful to those beautiful people. But then when my voice broke, the fellow, Paul Hill, he was teaching me, and he said, now we'll learn more about music and we'll study the piano. So that's how that all came about.
Well, it worked out all right for you, didn't it?
Well, you know, I've been working ever since, thank God. I've been doing radio when that all finished, and I got sacked. I mean, I went on to bigger and better things. And I went into television, and when those things all sort of fell by the wayside...
Don't leave television like that, because you did some good shows on television. As I'm sitting here, I can look over there, you have 6 Logies.
Yes.
Don't look over there, I'm here.
Well, I mean, I was looking over at the Logies.
I see. Yeah, what were they for?
What were they for? When I started at Channel 9, I wasn't very good at all. I wasn't doing anything. And Reg Grundy Productions, do you remember his name?
Of course. How could I ever forget it?
Oh, he just runs everything, doesn't he? Reggie is television. Well, his wife now, Joy Chambers, was working in a panel program called I've Got a Secret, and I was up in the booth I'd look upstairs and say, Mrs. Grundy's secret is that she doesn't know what day it is. And I'd tell the audience, and then it would go downstairs, and then they'd all have to guess all the secrets and see what happened. So I stayed up there for a few months, I think, talking to Reg, and then Reg said, we'll put you on, we'll try you out in a panel. Some bloke is leaving, and that's how that all... my whole life's been an accident. And I got onto this panel show, and they weren't going to use me. We all went out to have dinner that particular night before the recording show the next day. And Reg Grundy told me all of this after. He didn't tell me the night we all went out, but he wasn't going to use me at all because he said, you were a dud on the program.
Charming.
I said, well, isn't that nice? And, of course, it was going wrong because I was trying my hardest to guess what the people's occupations were or what their secrets were, and I was trying so hard getting nowhere that when it all went on the air and they started to record it on videotape to play for the next week's show, I just said, oh, bugger this, I can't be bothered with all this gossip. I've never been interested in gossip and what's behind people's doings and their businesses. Let them all work it all out. I can't. So that's exactly what I did. And 10 years, 12 years later, Reg Grundy said, that's what I wanted in the first place.
Name some of the shows you've appeared on radio.
The radio shows.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, dear, Monbol Jamborees. You know, when we were at KZ, we had that man, Leslie Ross. And Leslie Ross would do anything and he'd make it a musical. He could make a musical out of a funeral. But he'd have all those beautiful cast members all around him playing their instruments. And Roy Lyons.
Roy Lyons was there, yeah.
Playing the violin.
Penny Lucas.
Penny Lucas would be singing, as Penny Lucas was part of your group, wasn't she?
Only in the Les Ross shows.
Well, Penny Lucas...
Actually, we started off as a trio, and he said, let's make it into a quartet and use Penny. So that meant
well, the original trio was
higher.
Jackie Boket, Edwin Duff and Bob Horsfall.
Yeah.
And what, is that your voices singing, we can't show all the pictures, so we only show
And you
the
wouldn't
best?
believe it, the Dugout Band is the backing in that.
Oh, well, see, that was on every night on 3KZ. They'd have Hoyt's Theatres,
6:30.
movies and music, and that brought us on, and then that'd take us off. See you outside. Where? Hoyt Suburban Theatre. And so that's historic, that recording. Somebody's got to have a copy of that somewhere.
I have a copy, and I believe it's worth quite a bit of money.
I
these days.
bet. I bet. Beautiful memories.
It's very worn.
Happy
It's
and
the one
Hoyt's-
they used to use, I think it's a 12-inch recording and has
Well, I
6
love
tracks
listening.
either side.
I love listening to the nostalgic hours that come on the air. There's one on Magic Radio, Neville Bragg and Clark Sinclair, who I know very well. They still bring your voice out singing on those ads and on those commercials. And a lot of them were done in the 60s and 70s when you were at AW, I think.
Yeah, that's right. We did 400, over 400 altogether.
Well, they're still playing them on Magic Radio. I think you should be a millionaire now with all your residuals.
Oh, yes. We used to do 4 tracks and get 4 guineas, I think.
You were overpaid.
Thank you.
And 3 Magic Radio, I don't know what their 3 is, 3 I don't know. And then Philip Brady and Bruce Mansfield, they still have your recordings playing these things. I wouldn't be surprised if they've got the Hoyt Suburban Theatre. Yes, they would have. Mansfield's light-fingered. He'd pinch anything. He used to blame me for pinching the records at KZ, but it was Bruce Mansfield all the time.
You had a program on radio playing piano and singing, didn't you?
Yes, that was another thing that happened. I think that's how Norman Spencer discovered me for a Channel 7 musical show, because KZ used to run me every day singing at the piano for the housewives, and they'd win some Supertex towels.
And what was it called? I can't remember. My Piano and Me or something like that?
I think it was called Ron Cadee Sings. It was just...
lousy title.
Well, they worked hours and hours to try and find something...
A lot of thought went into that lot.
Something novel. Well, they were originally going to call it I Love Lucy, but somebody else used that.
I Love Lucy.
They used that, and so it was Ron Cadee Sings. So they were a lot of fun. And then Channel 7 called me down and said, we're doing a television program called Make Mine Music. We put slides on the screen, and the people will win money if they can fill in the words. And that's how the music started on television.
You have a show here on a Sunday on 3UZ.
Yes, Golden Memories.
And it's a beauty.
I love... Well, see, I don't think you could work in that if you don't love it, because I've got the young kids who work alongside of me to put the records on, and it's almost as if they're going to say, here's a lovely song, and they put both fingers in their ears. And I say, well, here now, we're going to hear from Bob Crosby and the Bobcats, and they just go right away, and they're not over-interested at all. And I just say...
They're not educated, you mean?
No, they're stupid. They want to hear Michael and the Mechanics and all these other things. And somebody said Muddy Waters to me the other day, and I just said, oh, yes, she's very good. No, that's a group, idiot.
Hill and Dale. Tracks from Hill and Dale. He must have had a special pickup or something, or else knocked it off on tape.
I can remember that. You always try and have things ready that will make you younger than you are, because Hill and Dale, that's before Marconi. And I was going to say to you then, Hill and Dale, yes, they're Walt Disney chipmunks. No, that's Chippendale.
Yes.
And so Hill and Dale was a recording process, wasn't it?
Yes,
Bluebird
Electric. It didn't go up and down like expected to go. The tracks went in and out. Instead of going in a circle, they waved.
I think we should keep this clean, this entire show.
I'm sorry about that. I just got carried away.
Didn't go up and down, but...
Tell me about some of the people you've worked with.
Hill and Dale. Was that Bluebird of Happiness?
That's it, yes.
Oh, that was Hill and
Jan
Dale.
Pierce.
I still don't know what it was, but it sounds fascinating.
It was there when I was there. They used to have these great big lockers with these 16-inch recordings. They were all, I suppose they were vinyl, but they were red in colour. And they weren't allowed, they used all top names, and they weren't allowed to... use the person's name because they were signed up with a recording.
Oh, was that it?
Now the Mary Macs were the Roddick Airs. So when we were looking for a name for the Tune Twisters, I remember I thought, the Roddick Airs, that's a good name. Airs being musical airs, And we went along to do a show, and the fellow said, you're a vocal group. And I said, yes. He said, I thought it was an acrobatic troupe. That's right. Well, that's about it, I'm afraid. We're running out of time, and I must move on. So thanks a lot, Ron.
I've really enjoyed all of the remembering back and all the marvellous memories, the nostalgia. And thank you, Bobby Horsfall, for asking me.
You've been listening to Ron Cadee, a veteran entertainer, you like that? And a wonderful radio announcer personality. Thank you.
Oh, we can't show all the pictures, so we only show the best. The others get the rest. You can put it to the test. So ring your girlfriend right away. When she hears the news, she'll say hooray. And hurry along to Ahoy Suburban Theater. So don't delay, go right away. There's lots of fun for